Some farmers usually make a lot of mistakes while they are practicing poultry farming. Most cases when they are rearing the day-old chicks, you end up finding out that most farmers end up making a lot of mistakes. And in this video, I'll be able to highlight some of those mistakes that these farmers usually make. So we'll go on this short drive as I'll be able to be explaining to you what are some of those mistakes. Though my camera has a very low battery, so I'll be able to explain to you some of those mistakes that these farmers usually make, because I realize, like, in most cases you end up finding out that most farmers are making those mistakes. The first thing is that during the first time you usually find out that most farmers are using this thing known as the chick start instead of them using the chick formula. If you're using chick start, you'll end up finding out that in most cases your birds, you know, they are using chick start because they are told that chick start has some presence of glucose in it. So you end up finding out that these guys, they use that chick start and they are not using maybe enough glucose. And for the benefit of you using, for example, the chick formula, is that chick formula has something in it known as the oxytetracycline, which is some kind of an antibiotic that will help your birds to be able to prevent some diseases from attacking, some bacterial diseases from attacking the bird, and some Nella diseases. For example, you end up finding out, like, during the transportation of the birds, they usually tend to pick on their poop in the carton boxes. So when they arrive, they may start to develop some sort of an infection. So if it has that kind of antibiotic in it, it will be able to prevent some diseases. Maybe it will just make them not so have that prevalent infection to occur on your birds. So that's one of the benefits of you using the chick formula instead of using the chick start. You know, most people even use the chick start and they say that the chick start has glucose in it, so they don't use the glucose. So they usually just give a very little amount of chick formula and they don't give enough glucose. So you end up finding out that the birds tend to be weak and they are not able to access the poultry feeds. So that can be a very big challenge to some farmers. So they must be sure that they are giving their birds some chick formula, and also they are giving their birds some glucose, enough glucose. For example, for every 100 liters of water, most farmers usually just give a little amount of, glucose, and that is not so advisable. They have to be able just to give enough glucose, so as their birds become strong and they can be able to access the feed and the water at the same time. Another thing is the liquid paraffin. You end up finding out that most farmers tend to continuously give liquid paraffin to their birds, even if after the first day. Only liquid paraffin should be placed in water only for the first 2 hours in the water. Then after that, it should not be added. The only thing is that it usually goes there to open the digestive tract of the bird, and you should be able just to do the right thing. If you're able to give it during the first 2 hours, then you're able to finish using the liquid paraffin. And liquid paraffin, guys, is not kerosene. Don't confuse paraffin. You know, when you are young, most people, our parents were sending us to go and buy paraffin, as thinking that paraffin is kerosene. But kerosene is different from the liquid paraffin. So make sure that, and I think even science even lied to us, because we were taught about something known as capillarity. They were using the concept of paraffin. I think that is where most people went wrong. I think they should say that, I think I had reached a place whereby I think I was talking about liquid paraffin, but then the camera went off, so I had to charge it so as I can be able to continue with this vlog. So the only problem that I have with most farmers is that they usually continuously give liquid paraffin to their birds. If you continuously give liquid paraffin to your birds, you'll end up finding out that your birds will tend to behave as if they are feeling a lot of cold, and that will be disadvantageous for you, because you'll end up finding out that most birds are huddling themselves towards the areas like the heat source, and you find out that they are not eating, leading to a slower growth. Slower growth meaning that means that you will get late income. and that is a very disadvantageous thing on your part if you are a farmer that you really need to get a lot of money out of the business venture. So you have to make sure that you are only giving the liquid paraffin during the first day. Thirdly, the most mistake that most farmers usually do is that they usually underheat their brooder. If you underheat your brooder, you end up finding out that you'll have slower growth, you'll have a lot of mortalities, and generally you'll lose money. Okay, so if you are losing money, then how will you be able to create generational wealth? Like mostly in these videos, I usually talk about how you can be able to create generational wealth. Generational wealth can be able to be created in so many ways, but the easiest way is if you are a youth, you can be able to start it early. If you are an older person, maybe maybe if you have a person that, or maybe your child, you can be able to mentor, so as they can be able to understand the business more, then it will be an advantageous part because they will be able to understand the business. Then they can be able to continue with what you have started. The best way of how you can be able to create generational wealth, I don't know what that guy was doing, because I think the road is so wide and he was crossing over to the other side, so I was even wondering how can I be able to overtake the guy. Okay, so how can you be able to create generational wealth? Generational wealth can be able to be created in very many ways. I know I think generational wealth is a net worth of around over I can say like a million US dollars. That is whereby I can say maybe you have some sort of maybe one generational wealth, like for the next generation, like from Gen Z then to the Gen Alpha. Then from Gen Alpha, I don't know, there will be Gen Beta or something like that. I think it's A, B, C, D, like that. So for if you are able to create like a wealth of about like can I say 10 million US dollars, that's closely to around 1.3 billion Kenyan shillings. That is whereby maybe I can say that you have created a wealth of like 2 generations. Generational wealth can be created in a very easy way if you just follow the procedure. Since if you are young, you can be able to create it in a very faster way, rather than you starting maybe late. But if you are starting late, you have to be able to mentor your kids. Even if you are trying to create generational wealth and you don't mentor your kids, then you'll end up finding out that you just wasted your whole time trying to make something out of nothing. Then it goes back to nothing. Then it won't be worth your time. So you have to make sure that what you are doing, you're also involving your kids. I usually find out that here in Africa, maybe when a man is making a lot of money, they don't involve their wives. So when the man maybe passes away, you end up finding out that the business also goes kaput. So that's the biggest problem. So you guys, you have to make sure that you are doing the right thing. Okay, so in poultry farming, after you have bought the chicks from the actuary farm, I hear most farmers, they usually don't know that I usually sell improved kienyeji breed of chicken. I usually sell the layers, and I usually sell the broiler chicken. Those are the birds that I usually sell. So for those guys that usually want those birds, I am able to supply to you those birds, and you should be able to avoid those mistakes. Another mistake is for these guys who usually make the corner brooder. You have to be able to make a brooder that is in circular or an oval shape. Then you'll be able to prevent a lot of diseases from attacking your poultry farm, and also that will also help you from the birds from huddling in one corner. You end up finding out that birds can tend to huddle in one corner, and if they huddle in one corner, they will suffocate, and you'll get a lot of mortality. Okay, those are some of the mistakes that most farmers usually do, and yet they don't know that they are doing those mistakes. So you have to make sure that you follow everything up to the letter, and you're able to make money out of the poultry farming business. Poultry farming is a very profitable venture that anybody can be able to grow. I was able to start my poultry farm with only 50 birds, 4,850 Kenyan shillings, which is around $40. And I've been able to grow it to a capacity of hatching around 3,000 birds in a single week. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. You have just to be able to follow the right things. If you're able to follow the right things, then you'll be able to grow any venture. Another mistake, this one I'll talk about generalization about the poultry. For ever a person wants to get into the poultry farming business, I've talked it in some of my videos, but maybe there are some viewers, some new subscribers who don't know about it. I think one of the biggest mistakes that also other farmers usually do is that they usually copy from their neighbors. They don't get the right knowledge before they start doing poultry farming. This is where you find out that you see your neighbor has kept some chicken, then you go and buy chicken. You say, oh, my neighbor is now selling eggs, now I want to be able to go and rear layers. But when you try to do your mathematics, you end up finding out that you're not getting any money out of the venture. So is that venture profitable, or is it eating into you? You have to make sure that you are doing your mathematics right, so as you can be able to make a profit out of the venture. I think this one was some sort of an institute for a long time ago, and I think now it's done. Or some politician, I think so. So it's gone. So you have to be able to do things right. There I usually talk about so many things about sustainability of anything. Sustainability is the most important thing. It's not just about the profit. That's why I usually say, if you want to get into the poultry farming business, you have to make sure that you are getting the knowledge right. You are understanding your market, and you are getting the knowledge right. If you're able to understand your market, that means that you'll be able to sell your birds and get a profit out of it, and you can be able to continue with that business. I usually really hate when a farmer just does only one batch, then they are gone. You have used the funds to construct the poultry house, then you're doing only one batch, then you're saying this business is bad. You have to be resilient, and you also have to understand that poultry farming, you need a lot of knowledge so as you can be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. You just don't wake up one day and you say, oh, I'm feeling like doing poultry farming and I think I'll be able to become a very rich man. No, that's not how it goes. You have to be able to understand everything from the word go up to the point of whereby you'll be selling your bird. If you're able to understand those things, my friend, I'm telling you that you'll be able to create something that is sustainable in the long run. Sustainability, man. Don't just make profit. That's why I've said, don't see like a farmer, like your neighbor has kept 100 layers and maybe selling eggs. You don't know where he's getting the other money to feed the birds. And you go, you copy the model, and yet you don't know what is the best number of birds, for example, for the layers that you have to be able to rear, so as you can be able to get a profit out of the business. So make sure that you understand the market very, very keenly, okay? Because sustainability, guys, I talk about that thing, and you can make money. Profit is there. You can make one month profit, then you eat it. But you have to understand how will you be able to maintain the business. To most of my farmers that I want to engage in, I want to make sure that a farmer is successful. I just don't want to sell to you birds today, then tomorrow you are done with the business. Because the knowledge that I've impacted into you, I've used my time. I want it to, I feel like it is something that has been able to create an impact in the long run that you can also transfer it to other people. So that is what I think is the best way of how we can be able to move on, and you as a farmer, you can also be able to grow. Okay, so guys, make sure for those guys that want to start poultry farming, they should be able to contact me. The number is here on the screen. And for those mistakes that most farmers usually make, lack of knowing how to be able to manage poultry diseases, maybe they don't know what kind of disease, what kind of medication they can use for the prevention, what kind of herb they can use as a prevention, what kind of herb they can use as a treatment. I am here, and I'll be able to help you guys be successful in the venture. I usually do consultation, and I don't do it for free because I'm also a human being and I have to survive. So you have to make sure that I usually do the engagement. We can be able to construct a poultry house, stock the house. If you want layers, I'm saying, guys, if you want to rare layers, 500, 1,000, 5,000 is a good number. 500 is just like for the smallest farmer. You can say 500 is a good number for the smallest farmer if you want to rear layers. Okay, it will make something sensible, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense for you to raise birds and risk all that time and money. I'm not saying that 100 is a smaller number, but I'm saying like maybe it will give you like not something